Alrighty, let's take a look at page 79, the Schumann art song, or Lied Löwenbräut, which translates to Lion Bride. So anyway, we're going to again, this one came with a link so you can listen to it. Please go ahead and listen to it a couple of times to get familiar. I also added a translation, and I think the translation kind of gives you a sense of sort of the darkness of the song. Now, on this one, I don't want to go through every single chord. We're going to just look at a few spots. The first spot I want to look at, though, is on the downbeat of this third measure. So what key are we in on this one? G minor? Okay, and how should we analyze this chord here? Go ahead and, again, anytime you want to pause and get ahead and try things on your own, please do. So it looks like we've got G, B natural, D, and F. Notice the B natural takes it out of the key of G minor, so this is a secondary chord. G is the dominant of which key? G is the dominant of C, and we know this is a G7, so this is a 5-7 of C. We're not in the key of C though, we're in the key of G minor, so this is 5 of 4. And it looks like we have F in the bass, so this will be 5-4-2 of 4. And we would definitely expect the next chord to be a 4 chord, C minor, and check it out. We've got E flat in the bass, and then C and G in the soprano. So we've got a C minor chord, C, E flat, G flat. C, E flat, G, excuse me. So that was one of our first spots. Now, why don't you go ahead and try analyzing from the second system and the third system. So do this one and this one. Don't worry about it 6. It 6, or I guess it's it plus 6, that's what it says. That's an Italian augmented 6 chord, and that is a theory 3 chord. So the only thing you need to know about it is that when we see that chord, the next chord is typically 5, and that's where it goes. So otherwise, don't worry about the it plus 6. Go ahead and pause, try to do these next 2 lines, and I'll put up the answers for you. So I've done everything except for the 2 chords that are out of the key. Notice this one has B natural, that's outside the key of G minor. This one here has C sharp and E natural, that's outside of the key of G minor. These are our secondary chords. So how do we analyze G major, G, B natural D in the key of G minor? Well, we have two options. Option one, we call it Roman numeral 1. While I do think that there are places where you might have a major tonic, to me this doesn't really feel like it. To me it feels like this is a dominant chord that's pulling us out of the key. And G is the dominant of C, which is 4. So I actually think that the better way to analyze this instead of Roman numeral 1 is 5 of 4. In fact, if you listen to it, it really does sound like a 5-1, which makes sense. 5 of 4, 4. It doesn't sound like a 1 to 4 quite so much. The next one is this. Let's go ahead and stack this into thirds. So I'm hoping that you're seeing this and thinking this is definitely a secondary leading tone, it's fully diminished, and if you're feeling that on this one, then you're in good shape. So C sharp is the leading tone to D, so this is a 7 of D, but we will call it 7 of 5. You'll find that 7 of 5 and 5 of 5 are great intensifiers because they get you to the dominant, and then you feel that that terrific resolution to 5 and then eventually to 1. So that's all we've got for this one. There is a extremely cool chord at the top. And there's really not a good way to analyze it, except for the fact that this is C minor and this is D diminished. If we're thinking in terms of the key of C minor, this is like a 2 of 4. Anyway, if you find that confusing, don't worry about it. I'm not going to ask you on the test.